Manchester City have lost 2-0 at home to Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League. That was absolutely embarrassing. It was really, really poor at points. It could have been 3 or 4. And you have to say, there are 5 major things we've learned from the game. Make sure you subscribe, leave your comments down below about the match. You have to say, this Bayer Leverkusen side were in complete control of large parts of this football match. Manchester City haven't lost a game like this since 2018, this early on in the Champions League. That was to Lyon many, many years ago. And since then, City have picked up a European Cup, have got far more experience, particularly at home against sides like Bayer Leverkusen, who are going to have that low block, played with a back 5 to break them down, to not lose the ball as easily. And it was an amateur performance today. It really, really was. It could have been 3. It could have been 4, like I've said. And you have to say that Manchester City have to go back to the drawing board. How did the club play without Erling Haaland? How did the club play without David Silva, Yaya Toure, Fernandinho, Rodri, who's currently still in the squad, but big physical presences that currently aren't here? Reinders today, Rico Lewis, it felt a little bit lightweight in the middle of the park. This is a Bayer Leverkusen side that were unfortunate enough to start any football season with Erik ten Hag, making them, a disastrous, catastrophic football club at the start of their campaign. And they were lucky enough to get rid of him early, with all due respect, one of the worst managers I've ever seen in the Premier League. A club that got smashed, manhandled, bullied, schooled, sent to Londis by PSG 7-2 only a few weeks ago. That's how bad this performance feels. Watching it, I didn't really understand the system. I didn't really understand the rotation. And it felt lightweight. And there's a lot of money on that pitch today. We're going to break down 5 things we've learned from the game, and obviously the goals themselves. Let's just talk about them because they were both brilliant finishes. The first one from Grimaldo. Mika Richards actually talked about it on Sky Sports after the Newcastle United game, where Newcastle were able to bypass the midfield, play first-time balls through the lines, and get opportunities maybe on the edge of the box, little rebounds, and that's where Harvey Barnes obviously scored his brilliant goal in the match. You have to say that Grimaldo scores a very similar goal to what Newcastle United were doing on the weekend. If you look at the build-up play for that goal, it was absolutely fantastic. From bottom of the pitch to the top of the pitch, Bayer Leverkusen almost first time passing through the lines. I think it goes all the way up to Schick and he plays it off, and it kind of falls to Grimaldo with an unbelievable finish. You have to say Grimaldo, with 17 starts this season, 8 goals and 5 assists. Everyone in Europe knows how good he is as a forward-thinking, attacking fullback. Maybe the best left back, left wing back going in world football. Maybe just behind Nuno Mendes if you include him as well. And the City side didn't accommodate that, didn't really track him. All game he was running and pulling strings around the Manchester City midfield, which at points had Rico Lewis tracking him, Reinders leaving so much space behind. There was a moment where he's playing little 1-2s with Mazza all for about 2 minutes, just popping it around with Mazza. Could have scored a goal from that situation as well. Really, really frustrating that actually there was so much space on the pitch for someone like Grimaldo. Again, this isn't a dream by Leverkusen side. It's a side that have lost a lot of their talented players, lost their manager at the start of this season. And they were able to form patterns of play that far exceeded anything Manchester City could do today. And that's very, very frustrating. The second goal was a work of art as well in terms of the finish from Schick, who's been a reliable goal scorer his entire career. And you have to say, it is an exquisite Champions League level header. Mazza plays this ball over the top into him. And it's at a strange angle. He has to kind of put power on it, but not too much, because he has to sort of let the cross go towards the net as well. He has to sort of maintain the rhythm of the ball, the momentum of the ball. He just sort of flicks it on, but with quite a lot of power. It's a subtle finish and a powerful finish at the same time. It's a great header. Nothing James Trafford could do about it. It felt that everything James Trafford faced today, nothing he could have done about both finishes. The Grimaldo sort of lace finish was absolutely exquisite. Both goals were high quality, but dare I say it, they're both standard Champions League goals. You will concede goals like that and chances like that against Leverkusen, against Dortmund, against Real Madrid, against Juventus. And you have to be better than this. You have to be better on the ball, not giving up opportunities. Today, Nico had, I thought, quite a poor game. Rico Lewis in midfield, it doesn't work. Rico Lewis, for me, he's a second choice right back. Maybe you prefer Mateus Nunes. Maybe you prefer Kujanov. Kujanov didn't have a great game today either, but Rico Lewis in midfield, for me, it never works, basically, unless it's lower league opposition in the Championship, in a League Cup game or in an FA Cup game. It just doesn't work for me. Let's just start off with the 5 things we've learned. Make sure you subscribe if you're new as well. Obviously, you can't be playing Haaland every single game. There's some really important fixtures coming up, particularly the kind of fixtures that he will thrive in. The likes of Sunderland, Fulham, Leeds coming up in reverse order, actually. Leeds United is the kind of game that Haaland should be 100% fit for, playing 90 minutes and trying to score a hat-trick. He's more than good enough. But the fact he's had to come on today to replace Marmoush to get City back into the game, a little bit embarrassing, really, because you want Marmoush, who's coming for big money in January. I thought he was electrifying when he first came into Manchester City in a really poor City side that underachieved massively last season. For a large part of the season, he came in and was the bright spark. He's been injured at the start of the season, but he's not a number 9. So there's going to be some real discussions about him off the left. Doku's playing obviously very, very well. Didn't have a great game against Newcastle United. But Marmoush, for me, unless you play a back 3, you play 3-5-2, and it's Marmoush linking up with Haaland in that kind of way, I don't condone that, because I think the City side are more than good enough to play back 4 and have that control in midfield. But what I'm saying is Marmoush is a false 9 by himself. Looked isolated, looked disjointed from the rest of the side. That is not an option. And again, it goes back to criticism of Manchester City after, Toure made a very, very, good man-marking job on Erling Haaland. I've butchered his name, sorry, for Newcastle United. So again, if you either don't play Haaland, he gets injured and or he gets rotated for rest, you're in a world of pain if you're Guardiola, because the goals at the moment aren't coming from anyone. Foden comes on today, can't really change the game. Cherky's come on to save the day. Nico O'Reilly. Basically, 5 first team players have come on to fix things and weren't even able to break down a Leverkusen side that have got injuries themselves, have got key players missing in this side. Quansah not deemed good enough by Arne Slot to even stay at Liverpool with a defensive, limitation they've got in their squad, a lack of centre-backs. He's gone to Bayer Leverkusen and he looked like a whole new man. He looked like Maldini out there. I mean, I don't know what to say. It was embarrassing. I think this Manchester City side can thrive. If you give me Fernandinho right now, give me Fernandinho, Rodri and De Bruyne in a midfield, or Rodri, David Silva, De Bruyne, which we've been lucky enough to see at the club for many, many years in certain kind of variations. I think this City side would beat Leverkusen. I think the actual issue isn't necessarily Marmoush, Savinho, Bob, who get a lot more service, a lot more protection if that midfield's thriving. But right now, Reinders is way off form. He looked great against Wolves. That was in August. We were all going to festivals and enjoying our lives and wearing bucket hats. Now it's nearly Christmas, even though it's still a third of the way into the season. His form has dipped off a cliff. Not trusted to start big games. Was brought on against Newcastle United. Is struggling to influence things. I don't know if Pep thinks he's a 10, an 8, a 6, a sub. I don't know. But he didn't influence things today, and that midfield looked very porous. Rico Lewis as well, and Nico Gonzalez struggling. And then the back line. I don't know what to make of the back line. Is Nuri bombing forward? Is Kujanov tucking in as a third centre-back? Kujanov's delivery when it comes on the right-hand side was really, really poor today. And you have to say Kujanov, I'm a big fan of Kujanov, but again, there's a right-hand side issue for Manchester City where all of it is coming down the left. Again, I'm talking about Marmoush potentially playing there, Doku, whoever. But on the right, Oscar Bob, Reinders with Kujanov, it felt very, very flat and very one-dimensional. It's going to get harder in the Champions League. Real Madrid. And it wasn't even a great Real Madrid side that beat the club last season. It's a really tricky result by Leverkusen. It teaches you nothing. I actually have no idea where the City side are going into the Premier League games, going into Champions League as well. You're going to have to let me know in the comments down below because it's a really poor result. 2-0 to Bayer Leverkusen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you very, very soon.